coffee and join me as I discuss selling your books in person. Let's talk about why you haven't sold your books in person yet. Is it because you're scared of rejection? Is it because you don't like the idea of selling your books in person? Or is it because you don't know how? These are all valid excuses, but I'm going to show you how you can get past all of them. And I'm going to break apart each one individually. So first, let's talk about rejection. That's a hard pill to swallow when someone's not interested in your books, or maybe you're scared that they'll tell you your book isn't very good. But I'm here to tell you that selling your books in person is the best way to boost your confidence. And it will take a little while though. So I wasn't very confident in my books, probably until my fourth book, if I can be honest with you. When people would tell me, Crystal, I love your book. It was so good. The characters were compelling. The plots were rich. I would think, maybe that person doesn't read very often, or maybe they're just trying to be nice. Why did I think that? That's not okay. When people continued telling me in my fourth book that they really loved it, it finally started sinking in. Maybe people actually like my books. It just took a while. 4 books in, more and more readers. I've sold more books in person than ever this year. And that's really why I think I started becoming more confident, because I kept hearing from more and more people in person. Because getting a good review on Amazon, it feels good, right? You feel good about it, you're excited, but at the same time, it's not someone looking you in the eye telling you, wow, this was a really good book, or thanks so much for sharing it with me. There's a very different feel to it. So selling your books in person will be a huge confidence booster. That's the best reason as to why you should sell your books in person. So don't be scared of rejection. Just start doing it, and I promise you, you're gonna get people who will start telling you that they really like what you wrote. Secondly, let's talk about selling your books in person. The idea of selling being a dirty word, it's a mindset. So I want you to think about replacing the word selling with offering. You are offering people an opportunity to meet your characters. You are offering people an opportunity to go through your rich, compelling plot, because let's face it, when you sat down to write, it was entertaining for you, and you're writing it to entertain others. It might be entertaining your friends and family, or it might be in hopes that you entertain hundreds to thousands of readers. You want to entertain them. So when you don't talk about your books with people, you are taking away the opportunity for them to meet your characters. You're taking away the opportunity for them to be entertained. And you don't want to do that. Think about it this way. Think about your books as if they're babies, right? That's why I call them book babies. When you're pregnant, or your wife is pregnant, you wait 9 long months to meet your precious little one. And when that baby arrives and mama and baby are healthy, what's the first thing you do? You start calling grandparents, aunts and uncles to tell them about your wonderful news. And eventually, whether it's right away or several weeks later, you can't wait for people to meet your precious little one. Maybe you start posting on Facebook or Instagram, right? You're sharing your baby with the world. I want you to look at your books that way. You should be so excited to share your book with the world. Think about all the long hours that you spent agonizing over every word, every sentence, going back, mixing details to make it more suspenseful, going back and rewriting the plot and reworking it, developing your characters more. You worked really hard. So why would you take away the opportunity for people to read your book, right? You shouldn't do that. This is your chance. This is your chance to talk about your books with people, to tell them how hard you worked on it, to tell them the exciting plot points so that they want to read your book. Trust me, you are not bothering them. I think that's what a lot of people think when they think about selling is, oh, I just don't want to bother them. Okay, maybe you don't, but you're not. Most of the time, you are offering them the opportunity to be entertained. Don't take that away from people. All right, lastly, maybe it's just that you don't know how to sell your books in person. Let's face it, when we decided to be writers, we're dreamers. We're excited to write and work on craft, and maybe we've taken classes. You know what? In college, most colleges still don't even have a creative writing degree, much less a creative writing and business degree together. In any career, you have to wear a hat that you don't want to wear. So maybe the business part of writing is not a hat you want to wear. And honestly, it's not something I wanted to do either. Selling, once again, sounded like a dirty word to me, and the idea of being a business person is something that I never anticipated doing. But I am loving it, and I think the more that you sell your books in person, the more you'll love being a business person as well. So when you think about selling your books in person and not really knowing how to do it, here's your first tip. Carry your books wherever you go. Put them in a purse, a backpack, just even in your car. You want to make your books as accessible as possible to people. So if you bring it up in conversation and someone is interested in your books, don't just hand them a bookmark. Chances are that bookmark will get lost. You'll have a few people who will go and use your bookmark to look at your website and on social media. But like I said, a lot of people will lose that bookmark. So if they're interested in your books and you say, oh, let me go out to my car and grab it. Or here, I carry them with me everywhere I go. Then you can hand them the book. They can look through it. They can look at the font. They can look at the cover. They can look at the back cover. You will sell many more books in person if you carry them. Now, carrying them with you is not just going to sell them though. You have to bring up your books in conversation, and you want it to be authentic. So when I decided to start selling my books in person, I started paying attention to the types of conversations I was having with people. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so one of the most common conversations that I have during the day when I'm out with my kids is, I'm talking with other moms and I might say, oh, are you a stay-at-home mom? And she may say yes, and she'll ask me, and that's when I say, well, I work from home. And that's when she says, oh, what do you do? And I tell her that I'm a writer, that I write romance. It's sweet and wholesome. And usually she asks more questions because people are really intrigued by writers. People want to know, wow, what goes on inside your head? How do you create characters? What kind of books do you have? What are your plots like? People are very, very intrigued by you. And once again, goes back to that will also increase your confidence again, because it's kind of cool when people are excited about what you do, especially if you've been writing for a while, to see that excitement from other people. It doesn't get any better than that. So pay attention to those types of conversations. So when I have conversations like this with moms, then it starts leading them to being interested in my books. So then at that point, I can bring up what I actually write, that I have a small town romance series, or that I have these love story collections. You want it to be authentic, you want it to be real. So that's why I say, before you actually start selling books, pay attention to those conversations and figure out ways that you can bring it up. Now, you will have several different responses from people when you actually bring up your books. So for instance, you'll have the reader who's absolutely excited. You could be talking about your book for 5 minutes and you have someone who says, where are they? How much are they? I want to buy them now. You don't believe me? Trust me, you will. There are people out there that will buy from you so fast you won't even know what happened. There was one time when I was at my youngest daughter's doctor appointment, and as the doctor was checking her out, we started talking. I brought up the fact that I work from home. She was super interested in my books and said, okay, bring them in tomorrow. I'll buy all of them from you. And I went, huh? What? In my head, I'm thinking, did I just sell my books? I hadn't even intended to sell my books to my daughter's doctor, but selling in person has become so natural to me that it just happened, and it was absolutely fabulous. So the more you do it, the more confident and comfortable you'll become doing it. And especially the most exciting ones are the ones who really want your books. You'll also have people who will be on the fence about it, who will go, well, I don't have any cash with me today, or, I don't really read a lot of romance. Obviously, I'm talking about romance since I write it, but whatever genre you write, you might have someone who says, I don't really read a lot of that genre. Here's what I say. When I have someone who tells me, I don't read a lot of romance, my go-to line is, well, that's okay. I have this small town romance series, but I also have these love story collections. And these love story collections are a mix of weddings, engagements, tragic circumstances, and breakups. So you never know which couple will end up together until you finish their story. I have a lot of readers who like these love story collections just because there's that level of suspense that you don't always get in other romance. So as you can tell, I've said that a lot to a lot of different people, and a lot of times I will have people who are then interested and say, okay, I'll give them a try. If you have somebody who says, I don't have cash with me, you can say, oh, there's an ATM over there. Or you might say, you can use PayPal if you'd like. I can send you an invoice. All you need to do is give me your email. This option's a little scarier. Keep in mind that not everyone will pay that invoice. I've never had an issue yet. I don't offer PayPal to everyone though. I only offer PayPal to people who I know I will see again in the future. I recently sold my books to the coffee barista at the coffee shop that I frequent because I frequent it. So I knew that I would see her again, and sure enough, she paid right away. So just be careful with PayPal or Venmo, but just know that those are other options too. You'll also get readers who will flat out say no, they aren't interested. Now, you might see this as rejection, but don't. Just think of no as not now. It means that they're not interested today, but they might think about their conversation with you. If you're nice and kind and continue talking to them after they tell you that they're not interested, they'll realize that you were being genuine, that you were genuinely interested in having a conversation with them as a person, not just trying to sell your books. So they might think about that great conversation they had with you later in the day or even weeks later and go, you know what? I don't really like to read that genre, or I don't really like to read, but I thought of my mom or my mother-in-law or my sister or my best friend. I think these would be great books for her or him, depending on what genre you write. So no means not yet. Look, lots of reasons why you might be scared to sell your books in person, but just do it, get started. I promise you it will make you more confident, you will make you more money, and you'll meet more readers. There's no reason why you shouldn't want any of those things. So just start doing it. I would love to help you. Please comment below and let me know what your experience is when you start selling books in person. I can't wait to hear of all the good things that happen and all the good people that you meet as you start sharing your books. Thanks so much for joining me for a cup of coffee, and happy reading.